Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Heartwell Demo stream, the live stream series where I continue to develop this adorable Souls-like action RPG with platforming mechanics and branching narrative. Now, if you find these dev streams interesting or helpful, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and boop that bell button to stay notified. Now, past couple of streams we've been working on identifying the code that needs to be adjusted for the window resizing rework, and that is what we're going to be continuing working on tonight. So, as you can see, we still have the green window up here to show us what things will be changed when we reduce the screen size. And like I said before, we'll pick up from there. So, we last left off at line 774, which is the line for, I believe that's the line that affects some of the text boxes in the menu UI for the manifest. FYI, the manifest UI is probably going to be the single most complicated thing to reprogram, just because this was made before I started using alterable variables to keep track of positioning for various things. So it'll make the adding process for this quite tedious. However, on the plus side, let's put on some music. Hold on 1 second. But on the plus side, chat, when we do get that, as we're adding this, I'm going to be thinking about ways to rework this in a sense so that if this ever needed to be changed in the future, it would be a lot easier. Things with like tying things to variables and stuff to that effect. So let's start with the item collection display UI object, which is of course the manifest, or at least the manifest menu UI that's seen. So let's pull that up. Boop. Okie doke. So it's line 774 we go. We need to examine the code after line 7, see if there are any coordinates that sufficient lines of code. Additionally, after you've identified all coordinates that need to be changed, consider how you might implement a rework that would make adding and changing these coordinates easier. An opportunity to rework. Yeah. Okay. We're currently looking through at lines 772 through 774. Okay. So what's tricky about this, chat, is when we're looking at lines of code, there's a lot here that could potentially be affected by just positioning. Let's see here. Okay, thankfully I don't think that's positioning. That's just the mouse click button. Okay. So far, line 840 looks fine. What about this, though? Okay. That, so far, so good. Yeah, so those are wondering what those equations are with, like, the plus 300, for example. That's, I believe, one of the ITSP equations. So that wouldn't have to be changed. So we'll continue from there. On line 855. Yeah, it's still looking fine. And then up next, that seems fine. Okie doke. So let's see what else we got. Anything over here? Nope. Okay, line 856. So far, thankfully these lines seem to be a lot more forgiving, since I think these are just for this actually activating the stat buttons. So the button selected code is probably going to be a different story. since that's probably going to have at least a couple variables that are going to be affected. Okay, that looks good. Let's see here. Keep on looking for those coordinates. Man, you know, what's interesting about this chat is, as I'm looking at all this older code, it's almost like taking a step back, looking back in time in a sense, like a time capsule. Because just seeing like all these, I want to say, when did I work on this? I want to say the stat menu was either something I worked on in, I want to say early 2020, early to mid 2022, so it was a while ago. And like, I remember like how much effort was put into the rework to make all of this work. So it's kind of interesting that we're reworking it again, but for something completely different. It's not because of the stat menu itself being a major overhaul. It's more so that because the window size needs an overhaul, it's affecting things. Just that goes to show that, like, when you're developing a game, it's and it's not always possible to predict this just due to the nebulous nature of game development, but it is worth the extra time to tie like coordinates or just any kind of fixed values to variables, even if you think they're going to be, static standard values early on, because if you ever need to change it for some reason, that'll make it a lot easier. Because right now, having to go through all this is when it's not fresh on your mind what you were working on specifically for this particular code. Oh, found one. Looks like line 870 is the next one. But yeah, as I was saying, like, it is, and like just a pro tip for any game developers out there. If you're writing equations for anything, and you have values that aren't variables of some kind, and you have the space for it, it's worth your time to make those what you think are stat values variables. And the reason for that is because in the future, if you ever need to change them for some reason, whether it's a rework that's unforeseen or simple gameplay balancing, it makes it a lot easier to adjust that way, just because you can set those variables across your multiple lines of code and thus only have to change the singular variable rather than many lines of code. All right, well, we have to make a note here because line 870 clearly needs some stuff. Okay. Let's add an action here. Start in line 870. Right there. So in line 870, ironically, I think these edits might be very similar to what we did above. So first things first, all those values there have to be changed, and that right there I've seen as an opportunity for using variables instead of these stat values. So yeah, I think it's the exact same values, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Well, I guess because it's the weapon selection, it's gonna be the same across those various things. But yeah, it's wild to think, chat, that I was working on this stuff like well over, I'd say around 2 years ago, and now it's coming back to it. It makes me think of just that different point in time when I was just a smidge younger, not as having no idea how far we would get with developing Heartwell so far. And it's been an incredible journey so far. Going from this to where I'm at today. Now where are we? Oh yeah, here we are. We need that. So that force portion's the same, but I'm curious, is there anything else? No, this one's fine. Let's see here. Fine. Good. Okay. Alright, that was the only thing there. So methane's all 4 of the XY coordinates. To make changing them in the future easier. Option A, create values in the save file array that are set. The save file is loaded. These values much more easily in the future. Alrighty. Now with that, well, I'll add that there. Hello, Copper Nicholson. Thanks for dropping by. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Copper Nicholson. Well, if you had a rough week, I hope you have a good weekend then. We are in the midst of continuing our quest to make the window resizing rework a reality. So we are looking at more lines of code. We are scouring the old code that I wrote in 2022, I want to say. Looking for anything that needs changed. Okay, so far as let's just make everything invisible. Oh, wait, is that plus 133? Okay, now that's the experience. Oh wait, no. I see that set at sunset Y position. All right, looks like we found some more, chat. All right, 1 second, chat. I need to check something. BRB. All right, sorry about that, chat. Just needed to grab, needed to grab something. I'm adding I'm taking screenshots again just for my own sanity. So this will make it easier for me to identify where things are and why they need to be changed. I've only been able to read things intermittently, Copper Nicholson, because I've had a fairly busy week, so I'm not particularly up to speed. But if you're having a rough week and you need to skip tonight, I totally understand. I hope you're able to at least have a relaxing evening in that case. let's see here. So next action. Like I was saying, line 877, we have some things that do have positioning code. Actually, I think these 3 lines here, especially the stat menu page checks, are probably going to be the heaviest lift in terms of things that need edits. Because I think like almost every single one of these text boxes have some kind of, have some kind of positioning check. So they will need edits. But let's just make sure it's only the text boxes and not like anything else that just happens to be hiding here. All right. So with that in mind, I'm thinking all right, let's think what these have to be like grouped together in some kind of pattern, I think. All right, I think the way I'm going to have to do this is I'll have to organize it by the name of the strain. And I'll be saying, Antomicx, these are some pretty silly names for strains. Why are you calling it like insight stat strain, physical bonus, elemental bonus? And that's because these strings, prior to being used as the, well, I think it was initially with just how things were structured, used to be structured in the stat menus, but it's also because these were used for various testing in the early phase of development. I never got around to actually renaming the strings, since renaming the strings would lead to more confusion within my documentation. That's why, for example, there is a string here that mentions the word spirit, even though there has been nothing in this game that references spirit whatsoever. And that's because, fun fact chat, this is from like the super early days of Heartwell's development, there used to be 4 bars rather than 3. And that was because I had this idea of using like some kind of bar for that would act similar to how FP works in like Dark Souls 3 or Elden Ring, where you would be able to do like some kind of special ability, but it would cost this unique resource, being spirit. However, I decided that would be out of scope for Heartwell's development for a couple of reasons. Namely because one, it would require a lot more programming and animations to make like specific unique special attacks or things like that. So it would significantly increase development time for not very much gain, at least in terms of what I'm trying to accomplish here. 2, it would make balancing the already complex system with the specials even more complex. And 3, ultimately I am one person developing this in my limited free time, so I have to make sure I keep the scope manageable. Like, this would be a very different story if I was developing this game with a team of some sort. But because I'm one person, part of managing one, the difference between a successful solo dev and a solo dev that finishes their project and a solo dev that doesn't is going to be just pure project management. And part of that is making sure you manage scope creep well. And scope creep is scope creep is a term for game development where basically you're trying to, when you keep thinking of all these different features or ideas to keep adding onto the game, but eventually you just keep adding more scope and more scope and more scope until eventually you're not even finishing your game anymore. You don't have like a clear vision for what the end version of the game is anymore, and thus that leads to what's to development taking much longer than it should to accomplish ultimately what you need. That's why it's so important to constantly be evaluating what's your quote unquote minimum viable product, developing to that, and then determining what's truly essential for your game's vision and what's merely nice to have. And ultimately, that's what Spirit became. It would have been something that was nice to have, but ultimately not fundamental to the gameplay system, and thus it was removed. Let's see here. Let's see here. So we have X and Y position. Okay. What do we got here? Alrighty. So, as before I go off on that tangent, we need to identify by specific strings which ones are affected. So, in lines 877 through 879. And have X and Y coordinates that need to be adjusted. So, let's see here. I think first things first, let's grab ourselves the let's use the snipping tool and just snip this to identify that these are things that need changed. Alrighty. Cool. Lines 877 through 879, all the strains at the end have some Y coordinates that need to be adjusted. So now chat, what I'm going to do is we're going to look at these and see if we can figure out what the adjustments need to be. Well, actually, we do have, so the actual like size of the manifest UI has remained constant this entire time. So the same like reductions to X and Y coordinates, I think would have to be the same. Right? Because it's changing where, because everything has to be moved in a linear direction. Let's go here. There's a lot more values by A whether the lines of code, what's the calculation code, and things don't be by 45 for the other one. It would be so ironic if like the stat menu that I thought would be super complicated ends up being a much more straightforward change. Well, Captain Nicholson, I would say look up what your state's unemployment programs are, read through them, and try to apply from there. Most states have some some government website where you can probably create an account and request that. Let's see. Use let's coordinate values by 80, whether the lines on the left or the calculation code on the right. Use all water coordinate values before I would on the left. And the website will probably tell you specifically like what circumstances would qualify and what wouldn't. And if all else fails, I'm pretty sure, you know, they'll probably have some phone number you could call or call to ask questions if you have to. Alrighty. So let's take a look at what requirements we have here. Okay, so 243. See top right portion of image below. Let's see here. Reduce all. Reduce all its coordinate values by 80, whether in the lines on the left. What are you referring to, Copper Nicholson? Again, I've been pretty out of the loop because I've been busy. Have you? I appreciate that you gave it. I'm assuming you're talking about your job. I appreciate that you gave it your all. If it's all right to ask, what exactly happened? Or if that's too touchy of a subject to talk about right now, I totally understand that. I'd understand if you just want to have a nice quiet night and try not to think about things until the morning. See, reduce all x coordinate values by 80 within the lines on the left or the calculation code on the right. Let's see here. So that means change 243 to 163. I see. Well, that can definitely happen. So, you know, I'm sorry to hear that happened, Copper Nicholson. And at the same time, though, you know, if it's a situation where the stuff you were doing was stuff that wasn't a good fit for you, then and you could also see this as an opportunity to seek employment elsewhere where you find things that are a better fit. Because after all, if you were unhappy at the job and really weren't able to adjust to it despite your best efforts, imagine how much worse it would be if you were, still in it and it's just, it's like you're trudging along and it's like you're not getting anywhere. Let's see here, change 243 to 163. Right, we see 423, that has to become... H155 to... So you subtract that by 80, 75. Let's see here. Then 173. Now, it might seem, chat, like going through this by number, especially when it's being changed by the same value, might seem like overkill. But trust me when I say, once we get into the thick of actually programming all this, doing all this prep work will make that programming step a lot not only a lot faster, but also make us less prone to mistakes. Because the most annoying thing about like making changes is to any kind of code is if you don't plan it out really well and you make mistakes, it makes it a lot more confusing. So 173, 155. Oh, 230. Okay. Yeah. So basically, chat, when we get to the point of programming, I don't want to be thinking so much. I just want to be doing. We should be doing all of our thinking as much as we can up front, so that the programming phase is more so just doing and testing and adjusting. Fair enough, Copper Nicholson. I hope you're able to have a good night. Oops, here. All right, we have 423s here. Oh, well, we already did 423, I see. 243s. Yep. Okay. $243. Oh, 400. Think that's a new one. Yeah. See here. Huh. All right. Well, always happy to offer support to others, Copper Mickelson, and I wish you all the best, dude. I know you're going through a really rough time, but again, I wish you all the best, and I encourage you to keep to keep moving forward. Let's see here. 400 to 320. Let's see here. $335. See here. All right, 335 needs to be changed. Okay, what's that? Minus 80. That's 255. There we go. Yeah. Not sure what you mean by well, hey, Copper Nicholson. You know, just as you're going through a rough time doesn't mean things can't get better. You know, like life's full of ups and downs. Sometimes the downs feel really heavy. I'm sure your brother can tell you that from how they felt when they were laid off from their job. But just as there are some heavy low points in life, so too are there times of rise and even some big high points in life. So, saying that it blew up in your face isn't necessarily true, Copper Nicholson. Because think about this, because like I was saying earlier, if at the end of the day you gave it your best shot, you gave this particular position your best shot, but it wasn't a good fit for you, okay, that's that provides some insight. It's very rough, of course, but at the same time it also shows you, like, okay, if that kind of position didn't work, it can open up the question, all right, well, what kind of positions might be a better fit for me? And that, and that might lead you to find a position that's a bit different, but one that you enjoy going to, one that you find yourself excited to go back to. So, who knows? Life happens in mysterious ways. But the important thing is to keep moving forward. I mean, to use an analogy here, I never imagined, like, all this heavy, all the code I put into the stat menu, for example. Like, I thought it was pretty decent when I was making it like 2 years ago. But now I have to do a major rework. I'm seeing just so many areas where could use like a massive overhaul or improvements, and it's not like up to snuff, so to speak, with where I am today. And as a result, this is leading me to spend a lot of time working on essentially reworking an old system rather than doing something new and exciting, like new levels, new weapons, making the affinity system, pretty fundamental things for the overall game. But it's really hard to see where we're going in the moment. but at the same time, when you get further in life and you're able to look back, sometimes the path becomes that much clearer. They always say hindsight is 20/20, but I genuinely think, like, you know, if I didn't have like these stumbling blocks, for example, doing all this stuff now has leaned to a lot of challenges, I would not have learned this lesson here. Like, hey, Antomicx, you need to stop using scalar values and start using a lot more variables, so that way, if this ever happened again, it wouldn't be as big of a problem. $335, 423, which I think we have. Yep. Okay. $403. Alrighty, so that's the x-coordinates. I think it would probably be wise to order these in numerical order just to make it a bit easier to read. And we'll go from there. Alrighty. Next up. Let's see here. I think this will actually be a good spot to take our first break chat, so don't go, guys. I will be right back. Alrighty, chat. Welcome back, everybody. We were writing down some x coordinates to adjust from the strings in the stat menus. And for those who are wondering what that is, it's this. So you'll notice how the stat menus have a bunch of numbers here. Those, so while the actual writing here, basically anything that isn't, any text that can change is an alterable string. So like the 120 here's a string, the 0 is a string, and of course the text here in the manifest display box is a string. But like the words here like physical, fire, earth, electric, etc., that's just a static image in the background. So all of these would need their placements adjusted, which is what we're working on right now. Let's see here. Anyway. I see. Well, hope you have fun spending time with Tay-Tay and any include Copper Nicholson. I hope you're able to get some good rest tonight. And I know you're going through a rough spot, Copper Nicholson, but you have to keep moving forward, and you have to keep looking to the future. I wish you all the best, Copper Nicholson, and I hope you have a good night. Now let's see here. I think we need some y coordinates. All right, first y coordinate. Yeah, 88 minus 4. So that's 4. That would be 43 minus 4. Now I know that would just be 84, but it's the way I programmed it to make the IDS easier to understand. I'll be right back, chat. Sorry about that, chat. I see that Erosion by Drummer Boy has come up in the playlist. Definitely my favorite song in our development playlist. Well, sorry, by development playlist, I mean songs we listen to while I'm developing. It's not actually anything that I made. But for those who are interested in the Heartwell soundtrack, all the songs that are in the demo so far are also available to listen to for free on YouTube. So you have 88 minus 4, 98, okay. Range 98 to let's see here, change 98 to, that's gonna be 53. Change 228 minus 4. What would that be? 223, 183. Okay, 28 minus 4, 88 minus 4, we have that already. 228 minus 4. Oh, 158 minus 4, that's a new one. Let's see. Minus 4 at 158. Oh, 50, that's different. Change 50 to 5. Wait. Oh, it's probably because it's out of bounds. I was like, wait, that won't be visible. Of course it won't. It's supposed to be out of bounds. I feel dumb. I feel dumb. You might be asking yourself, chat, why, Antomicx, why do you feel dumb right now? I feel dumb because any value that's a negative value is meant to be out of bounds, which means it doesn't actually need to be adjusted. So... Okay, so it's just the -400 and -50. Let's make an important note. Important note. Do not since this is coordinates therefore won't be impacted by the change. All right, let's continue from here. So ignore the -50 for now. Yeah, I think 194 is the last one. Yep, I do. Change 194 to, I think that'll be 149. Okay, so now we've got, let's just do a quick double check. 88 minus 4, 98, 228 minus 4, 158 minus 4, 194. There are 5 there. Now let's look at the x coordinates. What he's saying, why am I double checking this? 243, and that's again just to make sure that 423 that I've covered everything. 155, 173, 230, 335. 403. Good. Okay. Up next. So we've covered those lines. Let's see what we have up next. Oh, now we're moving into melee combats. Okay. Would that change anything? I don't think the mouse would be affected since the attacking range is going to be the same, even if the window's resized. So that's related to an object, not a coordinate system. Okay. Looked at that. Okay. So that's mouse, one mouse. That won't change. That won't change either. Okay. Would the health of the healing be affected? I don't think it would. At least now. Okay. The lower bits be affected? The lower bits might actually be affected though. And that's just coordinate system for the display test might be altered. Well, actually, it would have to be altered. We're gonna have to change its location anyway. Far so good. All right, we finished our checks for the manifest stat book. So we definitely need to start categorizing these, because if we don't, things will get very confusing very quickly. Changes involving manifest stat book objects. Alright, and now that we've done that chat, you might think, Antomicx, we checked through the manifest stat book. Clearly we've covered all the coordinate stuff, right? Not necessarily. Well, we've covered the manifest stat book. We still need to cover some of the other things that could be just part of the things. So first we have the I am collected display UI. They'll need some changes. There's, of course, the I'm just thinking out loud here, chat. So there's a bunch of things that need change. I just want to make sure we're on track where we are. All right, that's the main menu frame. Now the opening cutscene frame. I do need to bold and underline those to make them a bit easier to read. A significant chunk of the notes in our stream document is becoming the changes that will need to be made for the rework, and that's okay. Because I want to make Heartwell the best it can be. This is a necessary step for that. Alright, so this is all the opening cutscene. Here's where it changes. Okay. Portrait, that spots UI, all good. You know, something I'm thinking about right now while we're still looking at this. Let's change these to title text just so that I have some way to find these a lot more easily. Yeah. Might look a little funky, but that's okay. We're here for function, not for anything else. It's all gotta be about function first. Okay. And now that we've done all of that, let's grab that. Certainly, it might be worth making some slight alterations here, since this will help make it easier to find these things. Because it'll go on the outline tab over there. All right. So, instead of the manifest outlook, let's start with going left to right with things that could be impacted. Already, something that definitely comes to mind is the item collection display UI. Up. Would that work though? No, it has to be adjusted because that's the center of the, well, it's towards the center of the screen. Item collection display UI. I think it's going to be the same kind of adjustment just as the, because everything here is proportional, I think. Well, hold on, we don't have to guess about this. Since something must have prompted this. Okay, so we've done already the character portrait, that's good. S/T collection UI, it needs to be yeah, this was a line 1 change, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. Alright, well, we've already made that adjustment then, so that's fine. making these different headings so I don't get as confused. Because we were about to just duplicate work there. Okay, which means this next section, it's not the eye on display that we're so concerned about. So I don't think so. It's going to be any kind of display string, which I think we've already covered, but just actually no, that's covered by that, and nothing else would affect it, since its position is directly related to the character portrait object. Okay. That means the next major thing. Have we covered the announcement text yet? We haven't. Alright. I guess announcer text is next. Yeah. So the announcement text chat, you're saying, what the heck is that? That's the text that announced things like altar of record is lit or RIP when Dorothy is defeated. So that'll definitely need at least its spacing adjusted. Actually, I take it back. So the announcement text doesn't need its spacing adjusted, as it's always to the top left and right of the frame. But if you'll notice, chat, I'm gonna purposely get destroyed just to show its alignment. Yeah, it would be off center there. So that'll have to be some animation adjustments. Right, down action. And animations for so that it's text new window size. I believe this it's 40 by 480. This is 40 by 360. Right. Okay. Okay. Note, you do not have to change since it is based on the positioning of the top left corner of the frame, I think. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything here that's like, hey, the positioning is based on something else. I don't think. Yeah, it's all related to the frame. And then, of course, being off screen, which isn't affected. The healing charge counter would be the same since we're not moving that UI. Damage counters should be the same. What's this counter even do again? Oh, that's just for testing, so that's unaffected. We done that testing. I don't think Pathfinder. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Pathfinder wouldn't be affected. These won't be affected. The floor set blocks shouldn't be affected. Neither should any of like the collision boxes. These won't be effective. Movement controllers shouldn't be affected. Yeah, no, that wouldn't be affected. Yeah, it's not affected. Alright. Let's check the save file array just to see if anything's affected by positioning. I don't think it would be. Oh, this is going to take a while. Well, now we chat. Da, 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 da. I feel like if anything's going to be affected by like an XY coordinate system, it's going to be in the stat menu somewhere. Alright, so far so good. I'm not seeing anything on the left that would be adjusted either. Alrighty. Well, looks like we are making some decent progress here. We'll do what we can as we try to find all the changes that need to be made. I'm just checking this right now, chat, just as I don't know exactly if it's affected. Yeah, that wouldn't be affected. Okay. Alright. So far, so good. Oh. I think we covered... Did we cover line 741 yet? Actually, no, I don't think we did. We did not. And that's because... Alright, so from what I've seen, I think this will be related to like a bunch of the UI things. Alright, SP counter won't be affected, so let's head on over to the player stat buttons. So that'll most likely have things affected. So let's call this the player stat buttons. Yeah, player stat buttons. Okay. So we need to do, yeah, okay, I'm already seeing some positioning things that'll be affected. So first we have line 415, which has a bunch of changes. Yeah, so basically anything that's like some kind of display UI will need adjustment. And I'll write down what those adjustments are when I come back. So don't worry, guys, I will be right back. Alright, sorry about that, chat. Let's get back to it. So, first things first. Line 415. It needs adjustments. Okay. Line 415. Most of the X and Y coordinates that needs to be adjusted. That's the same, at least I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same kind of thing because we're things will need to be changed. So that's coordinates. Does it? Yeah, it's just we're effectively just moving the stat menu by that scalar. That means 475 becomes 395. So you know what? Wait a minute. We keep looking back and forth. Might as well do this. That way we're making better use of our space here. Alright, so 475 and 95. Oh, sorry, start with the 475. Change 475 to 395. Change 223 to 163. Change 311 to, let's see here, 231. Yeah. This is quickly become just an addition and subtraction problem. Okay. Hello, Copper Nicholson. Welcome back. We are in the midst of doing some basic addition and subtraction to adjust the coordinate values for various objects that are used in the manifest UI display. All right, so we have 238, 2, 38 minus 80. That's going to be 158. Yeah. Let's change 326 to 246. Change 427 to 347. Change 477 to 397. Change 527. To 447. Alright, these are just display with multiple strings, so those aren't changed. Okay. Now for the y coordinates. And these are subtracted by 45, so change 95 to 50. Change 128 to 83. The thing that y coordinates don't change as much due to the way the menu is structured. Oh, there's another one. Change 161 to 116. Change 104 to 59. The rest are just display things. Yeah. Cool. All right. So that's line 415. Now let's take a look over here. It's just line 426. Okay. Oh, okay, no, that's related to that object, so that's fine. All right, 426 looks fine. Let's see, 436. Yeah, okay, 436, it's fine. Player stat buttons, check. Up, so it begins. I feel like this whole stat buttons check section's very inefficient at this point, but it would take quite a bit. None of these should adjust the positioning, but just to be safe, we should double check these. So many combinations. So many combinations, chat. So many combinations. So many combinations. All right. Okay. Right now, chat, we're in this to checking essentially the level up buttons for the player stats. So these are 5 buttons that can be used to level up things like strength, dexterity, vitality, endurance, and agility. Okay, so far nothing's really jumped out at me here as being affected by the rework here, which is good. This is a fairly confusing section. Well, that's not confusing, it's just it's a big section. As you see, we start at line 596 and we go all the way to line like 600, well, into the 700s. Next we have the mouse selection. Did we adjust line 741? I don't think we did. It's not. All right, new territory, chat. New territory. Line 741 definitely needs adjusted because I see those coordinate values there. Yeah, now, I have to say this looks like a very complicated line. Well, this is the line that determines whether whether this is displayed or not. And it chooses what button selected. So these are very, very important coordinates to have right, because this is what the player's going to experience when they're trying to press the button to level up a stat. All right, it's actually such a long set of code that's hard to. I just have to remind myself that to carefully review line 740. I think, yeah, so that doesn't need changed and that doesn't need changed. It's just the line of code itself. So this is line 741. Line 721, most of the button and or stat menu display objects. Oh, no, it's there are 12 adjusted. Okay. I'll underline that just to make it pop out a bit more. 475 to 395. I'm changing 95 to 50. Okay, nothing too surprising there. Oh, that'll definitely need changed. Yes, this is what determines which button selected for the level ups. Oh, I'm so glad I adjusted those value equations like that so we can make it a lot simpler. Okay. Line 741, 780, and 791, well, 790 through 794. And there are the higher stat. Regular stat bounce objects and stat bounce selected objects. The nice thing about this, though, is that the way I structured this code, this is a little forward thinking on my part, at least a little bit, is there's a base scalar here that is the same throughout, that being 475 for the x coordinates and 95 for the y coordinates. So even though there's quite a bit that needs adjusted here, it makes it so that we could probably tie out a lot of that to variables to make it a lot simpler on ourselves. There we go. Okay. Very, very good. That gives us a lot more to work with. Oof. Okay. I don't think anything else is affected. At least in that segment. Right, line 841 seems to be all good. 870, I think we might have adjusted this line, though I'd have to check. Yep, I do call it line 870. All right. We've already called out these lines, you know, ad nauseum, I believe. Yeah, that's where we did all those checks. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that covers which object is that? Player stat buttons object. Which means up next we have the stat button selected object. Okay, so with the stat button selected object chat, this basically is an object that makes it look like a button is highlighted. For if the mouse cursor is hovering above it. Okay. So we'll go with that. All right. So first thing that comes up is 396. We've checked before. Alright, that wouldn't need adjusted as that's off the frame. I believe we've already covered line 741 previously. Yep, 741 is mentioned here. Okay. We mentioned, oh dear. Well, so evidenced. 781's another one. I'm gonna put it right here, even though it doesn't technically call out this particular object there, it's the same changes that need to be made. However, line 783, it's similar type of changes, just slightly different. Okay. Lines 783. Through 787. Just some lines of trail on the left and the adjusted. Yeah. You might be wondering why I keep grabbing screenshots. It's just to make it easier for me to understand visually what's going on. Okay. So the important numbers are 228 and 128. There we go, change 228 to 228 minus 80, or 168. 168, I said, very good. Have to change the 128 to that minus 45, or 83. Very good. I saw this down here. That's the 791 through 794, which we've covered already. Oh, sorry, 790 through 794, which we covered already up here. Somewhere. Somewhere. I know it's up here. Oh, yep, there it is. Whoa. Okay, that's definitely going to need adjustments. Line 832 most certainly needs adjustments. Yeah, thankfully it's just the 228 and the 133 that need changed. So we will adjust that. Oh, it's the same for the ranged weapon, so line 832 and 836. This line 832, 836. There we go. There's such and such code. It's 228 and 133. Yeah, we were saying, what are these formulas, chat? So those formulas are to make it so it's formulaic where the stat button animation will end up. So it's basically doing it's checking for where what the button value is that's being selected, and based on that, it uses mathematics to identify the correct coordinates, or sorry, to return the correct coordinates. 228, 133. All right. Very good. Very, very good. Well, let's double check. Okay. Then we have, okay, that's fine since that's just taking it off frame. Yeah. All right, we have the stat button selected. Next is the melee stat buttons. There you go. Specifically melee stat buttons 1. Alright, chat, I think I'll take a quick break to open our guys. I'll be right back. All right, chat. I'm feeling myself fading a bit right here, and so I'll probably need to get some rest. And we made some decent progress tonight. We have there's a method to the madness, so to speak. We know what the path forward is. So we're basically netstep will be going, object by object, checking these lines of code, since this is like where the bulk of the changes are going to be, is these objects here. So the fact that we've gotten to that point, I think is good. So using the UI bar and string objects one by one and recording and identifying / determining what code needs to be updated. You are currently on the melee stat buttons 1 object. This will be for the 21st. All right. Well, chat, thank you all so much for dropping by. I really do appreciate it. Hope you all have a good rest of your night. I hope you all have an amazing weekend. Good night, everyone. Have fun.